The first round of the Ukrainian presidential elections took place on March 31st. By all accounts, the process was the most democratic that it has ever been, with statistically negligible interference. A large reason for this was the presence and activity of elections monitors, who kept an eye on polling stations, media coverage and reports, and political activity within the camps of the candidates and within the community at large. The results of the first round of elections were a bit of a surprise. Yes, the incumbent president of Ukraine, Petro Poroshenko, made it into the second round. But then so did Volodymyr Zelensky, a TV personality, popular comedian, and political novice. Ukrainians in Ukraine voted overwhelmingly in favor of Zelensky, while Ukrainians outside of Ukraine voted largely in favor of Poroshenko. Today, I discuss the 2019 Ukrainian elections process and first-round results with Eugene Czolij, the head of mission of the Ukrainian World Congress International Observation Mission to Ukraine's 2019 elections. Hello, Eugene. Welcome back. How is your trip to Ukraine?
It was a very successful first round of presidential elections, and I'm very satisfied with the way the electoral process went.
And how did the monitoring mission of the Ukrainian World Congress fare amid the pre-election hysteria?
I think that as a starter, our mission was a very substantial mission, much better than what I originally anticipated and what I actually told you during our first interview, in that we had over 200 short-term observers, to be precise 219, which made us the third largest short-term observation mission after the OSCE and NMO. With our member organization, the Ukrainian Congress Committee of America, that registered 78 short-term observers, we had 297 short-term observers. In addition to that, we had 122 long-term observers. The short-term observers came from 16 various countries in the world, and they observed the election in 18 oblasts in Ukraine and in 25 countries in the world. The Ukrainian World Congress is the only mission that monitored the election in various countries in the world. So it was a very substantial mission. The process was a very interesting one, a very democratic one. At the end of the day, the Ukrainian World Congress has issued a report, and I have indicated during our press conference in Ukraine that the elections met the international norms and standards of a democratic election. And by all counts, it was a successful day, including the fact that it was probably the nicest and warmest day of the 10 days that I was in Ukraine. So that is essentially the overall kind of assessment of that election. I'm saying that on the basis of the reports of our short-term observers. I also personally went to about 20 some polling stations and was able to observe a very normal election process. And therefore, I think that, as I've indicated to others in my interviews, I think on March 31st, there was one very clear winner, and that winner is democracy.
Very good, very good. And how is the monitoring mission gearing up for the next round? Any sort of tweaks, adjustments?
I think that the biggest challenge that we will have is that the second round will be on April 21. That is for many It's the Roman Catholic Easter, which is also celebrated by many Ukrainian Catholics. And therefore the challenge is going to be to get as many short-term observers to come, notwithstanding that this is the biggest holiday in the year. But we have already gotten at the end, when we were doing the debriefing with our observers, very positive feedback from our short-term observers, and many were telling us that they will, even those that were undecided, that they were looking forward to observe the next round, and that they will try to come for the second round of the presidential election. And then, of course, some have already indicated they will come for the parliamentary election. So people were satisfied and upbeat and willing to continue this process.
Now, the results of the first round were rather eye-opening, with Volodymyr Zelensky achieving most of the popular support in Ukraine. I wonder, did you perhaps notice a change, a shift in sentiments among people in Ukraine when you were there? Or maybe your team noticed?
I think it's a bit early, kind of, to assess to what extent there was any change. I think we'll probably see much more of that during the campaign leading up to the second round, and then we'll be probably able to make a better assessment. I think that many polls have indicated or reflected results that are not too far from what ultimately the Central Election Commission has announced.
And I wonder if you were able to say sort of what you think about the fact that there was more support for Poroshenko in the diaspora and more for Zelensky in Ukraine.
I think that at this stage, again, the numbers are such that, for instance, in the diaspora, that there was only a 12% turnout, which is not that high. But in fact, you're right that the order was reversed in terms of the support that the incumbent president picked up in the diaspora and the opposite in Ukraine.
Thank you very much. I will be talking to you then later, after the second round has been accomplished, and maybe we can get into some analysis then.
Yes, absolutely. I think that will definitely, I think it's going to be an exciting campaign, and so we'll probably have a lot more to talk about after the results on April 21.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So talk to you then.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I'm Tania Stech, and this was Ukraine in the News.